explored whatever things I have told. Did you guys got some time to explore at least the repository?
I have gone through all the details of the repository.
Okay, you tried with Docker Compose.
No, no, I haven't tried, but just read this, all the details.
Okay. Okay, but let's say you have a weekend. I believe you guys, all of you guys are working. So, like theory and a bit of practical I am showing, but at least try things with yourself after the session or whenever you got some time, because I can understand like every one of you are working, so it would be hard. But the main thing is that if you will not do the things or try the things, so you will not be getting stuck. And if you will not be getting stuck, then you will not be getting much more practical experience. So that's why I'm enforcing you guys to explore or try to at least implement what the best or the worst it can be, like it will be not be working. So since I am here, I can help you guys to get it deployed or we can fix it together. So this is what I am asking. Okay, now let's continue. I believe we have kubectl get. Okay, so my front end, back end, and this MongoDB is working. So currently, what is the state is that I have mapped this with Ingress. Let me know if any one of you were
Just a
not
second,
present.
just I have one doubt. Sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt. So,
yeah.
can you please reiterate, like in front end, what all are things are running, in and back end, what all are things are running?
So from
Just
Kubernetes perspective.
quickly, yeah, Kubernetes first. Correct.
So this is nothing but my front-end application, front-end deployment. This is my back-end deployment. Here you can see in the initial only, you can see this name, the back-end deployment, then a bit of jumbled words. Then here you can see MongoDB and a bit of jumbled words. So this is nothing but my database. So these three containers or three applications are working. Two application and one database. Currently, I have deployed this as a pod, but in production scenario, it will not be getting deployed as a pod. So let's cover this first, how it will be deploying. I cannot show you guys right now because this MongoDB requires a subscription, which you need to pay. If this application was written in MySQL, we can run this in this infrastructure without any subscription because AWS provide you the service called AWS RDS, which you can see here. And RDS has a many variation like MySQL. You can deploy RDS like it's nothing but a app database, open source database, which they are managing. You don't have to manage. They are doing everything like patching, upgrading. Only the thing is that you just need to click this and you can deploy this as a managed service. The management thing they will take care of. But for MongoDB, there is a service called DocumentDB. This is nothing but a MongoDB, but managed by AWS. AW, but what you cannot deploy this because AWS key ID needed for the subscription service. You need to purchase a subscription and then you need to create the cluster. So this is what I am facing. But when you will be going to any organization, if they will be using, obviously you have the access of subscription and you
Wait,
can deploy
Deepak,
it.
I think Rahul wants to ask something or say something.
Yeah, Rahul, please.
Ayush, I do have one question.
Yeah.
So here, are we included the MongoDB or MySQL? since I think AWS IDS is a relationship management, relationship database, right? And I think as per my understanding, MongoDB is a NoSQL database, right?
Yes,
So
correct.
which one we are using for now?
Currently, this application was written in a written to ingest data on MongoDB. So
Okay.
you cannot just plug out and use another database. So this is the scenario. But if that application was written to ingest or retrieve data on MySQL, obviously we can deploy and use that.
Okay. But if we want to use a MongoDB, then apart of Amazon Mango documentation, what you have mentioned, is there any alternative approach? It seems to be, I think, cost consumption, right? If it is
Yes,
managed by the
definitely.
AWS, right?
Yes.
So what will be the alternative approach if we are using a MongoDB? Which service we need to use in
So
AWS?
in real life scenario, if your organization is using MongoDB, then for sure they will be using this DocumentDB service, and you will be deploying this
Okay.
service, and you will be getting a connection URL. That same connection URL you will be basically providing in the deployment of your backend. If you see carefully, this is nothing but the connection URL.
Okay.
So when you deploy DocumentDB, you will be getting
Right.
connection URL and you can just pass here. So your backend will push data in this database, whatever you will deploy.
Okay. And credential will be stored in a secret, right? From there, it will.
Yeah. So
Okay.
basically, there are different approaches. So few people used to store their secrets in Secret Manager, the
Okay.
Secret Manager.
Okay.
Uh,
Right.
but for this, there are like things you need to do to run a init container. So the main purpose of that container is to dynamically pull secrets from here and then provide credential to your main container, this application. So there will be, so fundamentally what will be happening is that you have a deployment where there will be two container running. One will be in your
Mm-hmm.
init container. So the main purpose of the init container is to go and call secret manager, do API call, and then retrieve the data and write somewhere in the file in this container. Then this container will read that credential and start. So that's how in real life people used to do. But to make it very simple, you can just go and provide. This is nothing but a connection URL with credential encoded.
Yes.
This is very simple, but the more like you can see from here, connection URL, show connection info. Hmm, how you see, this is how the admin and then password. So this whole thing you will copy and you can paste here, and
Right.
then you will be using. Uh, so there are different approaches. The best practice that you will be basically your application team will be doing like doing API call, then writing somewhere, then you will be writing in init container to pull that data, and then your main container, basically your application will be reading that file and then starting uh, the application to mount that connection URL into your application.
Okay. And the sequence will be to deploy such an application is like first we have to deploy the backend, right? Then the backend as in
Database. So
DB, yes. Second will be the backend and then the front end, right? That should be the
correct,
approach.
correct.
Okay. Okay.
So currently it is deployed as a container, but let's say this is your Kubernetes cluster where two worker nodes are there, and this is your AWS infrastructure. in blue line, and this is somewhere database in your AWS infrastructure which you deployed here through managed service. When you deploy this, you will be getting a connection URL, and the same connection URL you will be referring to your backend deployment. Then you basically you can then push your data here. This is the approach. But when you create this database, you need to basically deploy this database into the same networking, through the same subnet or network from where basically you can make connection happen. So this is the way how you do. Is this correct? Yes, no.
I understood details, but we'll explore more.
Yeah.
From my side, yeah.
So basically what I am telling to make it very much simplify. Oh, sorry. Let's say database. Sorry, RDS. You can go here. Basically, I am telling you very general perspective. Currently, I cannot launch MongoDB. That's why I am showing the RDS one. But the same fundamental will be following in the MongoDB level. If you have a subscription key in your organization, okay. So create database, make it easy. Let's say MySQL. If you deploy this, let's say everything is by default. But the main important thing is that to deploy this, create database, but where is the networking? Where you got the networking section, create database, MySQL, community, free tier, default setting. Okay, it is taking default full configuration. Sorry, my bad. That's what I am missing. So here you can see single agent. There are different kind of deployment, but the main important thing is that your cluster is running somewhere. Where? Here. Your EKS cluster is running in this subnet. Sorry, in this VPC. 4E9. So basically what you have to do is that you need to deploy this database into this VPC only. Then you need to choose between public and private. So the best practice is that to make database private, not public, else anyone can basically access your data. That's why to make it private. Then availability zones you will choose. Then a few more additional configuration you will do. Then you will basically hit the create. Once you create, so basically what will be happening is that if you create, there is a database. This whole blue line is nothing but your AWS account. When you hit the create, then this database will get created in your AWS account. It will get deployed, and this whole cluster and this database will be in same networking. Is this clear?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, Rust. For Rust. Is this clear?
Yes, get it.
Okay. Okay. Okay, now what we were basically exploring is that the ingress part. So when you create or deploy any microservice, there are different kind of services which you have. Load balancer, node core, cluster IP. The main important thing is that we want to explore Ingress. It gives you the capability to deploy single load balancer and expose multiple microservices through single load balancer. So this is the simple funda. To achieve this, what you have to do, there is an Ingress controller you need to deploy in your Kubernetes cluster. This is nothing but your Ingress controller. Why you need this? Because this is the Ingress controller which will deploy this load balancer, and what configuration in this load balancer will be having is you will decide how by deploying Ingress resource. This is nothing but an Ingress resource, and here basically you are writing the Ingress resource name is banking Ingress, banking application. Ingress class means ALB, means application load balancer. Then this is nothing but internet facing, means it will deploy load balancer in public facing subnet. So in the initial section, what we have covered, there are different kind of subnets: public subnet, private subnet. So internet facing means you are deploying public facing load balancer, means anyone from the internet can reach out to that load balancer. Because you want to expose your application, you have to deploy a internet facing load balancer. That's why I have mentioned this thing here. Then basically I am telling uh, to basically deploy a target group of IP. This I will show where you will see this. Then to listen on a port 80. Then here you can see banking example.xyz. So this is nothing but, if you carefully see, this is nothing but my front end service. What service? If you see here, you deploy the deployment and how you make it reachable to another application, or how you expose. So there is a service which is above your deployment. This is nothing but your service of type cluster IP. So this is what you have deployed above. So this is nothing but your front-end service of name cluster IP. Then this is your backend service. And what you are telling through this Ingress resource, when I hit banking application.example.xyz, please land me to my front-end service. If I hit API.backend application.xyz, please land me to my backend service. If I hit this, see this example, this domain I have purchased and I have mapped this to this domain. If you give me some time, I think GoDaddy. From GoDaddy, I have purchased this. I believe where you can see domain hosting domain. Okay, sorry, my product. So when you purchase anything, like here you can see there is a domain I have purchased. Then what is the next step? Once you purchase from any third-party vendor, the next step is what you have to do is that you need to create a hosted zone in Route 53. So there is a service called Route 53, which will help you to map your load balancer with your domain. So if you see carefully here, forget this, I have mapped everything here. So I have deployed this hosted zone, public hosted zone. And if you see carefully, this is the, once you deploy any hosted zone, how you deploy hosted zone, you just go here and then your domain name, public hosted zone. then you hit create. Once you create, you will get few name servers. What are name servers? You can see here in the name server. So basically these are nothing but the servers which will have all of the mapping which you will be creating here. So if you are purchasing from third party vendor like GoDaddy or any other third party provider like who gives you the DNS, so what you have to do, basically you need to register your name server or transfer it them. You need to register them to that uh, name server in the panel. You have to go here in the name server section, and here you can see this is the same name server .aws dns dot 1024 and 458. This is the same one, 458. This is the same name server I have updated here. How you do that? Change the name server. So once you purchase any name server, by default, GoDaddy uh, have few name servers. But if you want to transfer it to somewhere else, this is how you do. Then uh, add more name server, whatever name server you will be getting after deploying public hosted zone, then hit the save button. Once you hit the save button, it will take some time to get your name server get reflected like this. Whatever entry now you will be creating here will be getting resolved from all of these name servers. So this is fundamentally the name. If from the perspective of name, if I say Deepak.com, where is the Deepak.com? So this this is nothing but the servers which will be helping me to resolve that name server to some IP or some load balancer. So this is the fundamental concept of all of this, how you create your DNS and how you transfer your name, like how you register your entries or transfer it to somewhere else. Like this is the whole flow if you are purchasing from any third party vendor. Now, the next step is that if you see carefully here, banking application example.com API, uh, banking application example.xyz, this is the same thing I have put here. Then the first thing is that if I hit this thing in the browser, how this traffic flows is that, where is my Xcali? So let's say you put this thing in your browser. If you hit this in your browser, what will happen? Your browser will go to GoDaddy. Currently, I am following this flow, like of what is happening in my case. It is going to GoDaddy. Now, since I have updated my name server in the GoDaddy, now this GoDaddy knows if I came across this one, where should I send this traffic? Now, since they have name server listed and which is in AWS infrastructure, it will send the traffic to AWS name servers, which have a list here, which we have updated in GoDaddy. So now this all name server have details of this. If you see this, this is nothing but pointing to a load balancer. This is nothing but a load balancer DNS. If I show you this, if you go inside this, if I do this, paste, so this K8S banking 34E, let's check this 34C. So this is the same load balancer which you are seeing here. K8S bank APPL bank APPL. So this is the same one. You can see. So that's how your traffic flows. Now your traffic comes to the load balancer. Now what is happening? If you see here, I am now inside the load balancer. Here you can see 80. This is nothing but the listener which I have deployed through here. Is the same thing I have given to listen on a port 80. Now, if you go inside this, if you see here, there are rules got created. This, all of those things I did not created manually. How I created? I have created this thing using this deployment kubectl apply -f, then this ingress. When I hit this, what is happening behind the scene is that there is a controller, there is a ingress controller which is reading my manifest file, which I am submitting the ingress rule. What are ingress rule? These are ingress rule. So this controller is reading this rule. After reading this rule, this will provision load balancer, and this will basically read all of the detail, all of the path, all of the configuration, and it will provision the load balancer of type, whatever thing I have mentioned, and basically convert it in a AWS perspective. Then here you can see this banking application is pointing nothing but your service, your front-end service. This is nothing but a target group got created, and this is nothing but the IP of your front-end pod. If you do this, kubectl get -n, if I do this, see, this is the IP of your front-end deployment. So that's how your traffic flows. So is this thing clear? Yes, no, any
So
doubt?
Ayush, uh, in YAML file of Ingress, so by giving the namespace branch application, so that is how basically Kubernetes get to know which cluster and which application has to be targeted, right? You have
Yeah,
mentioned under metadata namespace branch application, right?
yes.
The fourth line, fifth
This
line.
this is the namespace. Namespace is the isolation, but the main important thing is that this configuration. This is nothing but a host base rule. How you create host base rule? If you go here, either you go create condition in the load balancer host header. Here you can see if you paste, this is nothing but the rule. Let's say you have api.example.com something something. So where to route the traffic to which pod to target. So all of the management of this thing, creation of this thing is being doing by your ingress controller. You don't have to do anything manually. All of this thing is being taken care by ingress controller. This is nothing but
Uh,
the cloud controller.
Agree, Ayush, but as per the infra, left one is the backend, right one is the front end, right? So if
Yes.
we are getting the certain traffic, so it should be only process on the front end application, right? And front end application then distribute the further traffic onto backend, right? So if I hit the api.benchapplication.example.com, okay, so
Mhm.
it should be deny the permission, right?
No,
Because it's a backend.
no,
Why?
that should not happen. In mind, you are thinking like your backend should be running in a very isolated way, but that's not how front end or backend work. To hit your backend, like to hit your backend services or APIs, you need to expose your backend publicly. Else, your front end will not be able to resolve that DNS or you or get reach out to your front end. So if you hit let's say frontend application.com, behind the scene, what is happening? Let's say I hit this behind the scene, what is happening? So this whole HTML page is been getting served from here. This is container running. I got API
Right.
hit. This front end got render and it will be shown on my browser. I am sitting somewhere around in world. So I will get this front end in my browser. Now what is happening? You are thinking that your application should be running in a very isolated way, but that's not how application work. Now the flow is that since if the scenario which you are thinking will happen, then what you will be getting is that connection timeout error. Because let's say you are saying you should not deploy your application, backend application, or expose those application publicly. Let's say you are thinking like this should get deployed privately. Then how your request will flow? It will come from here to here, then from here to here, then from back this front end to this back end. No, this is not the correct flow how your traffic flows. The correct flow is that how your traffic lands to your API is that there is a HTML got created here. Like the HTML got rendered in my browser. If you see carefully, let's say inspect networking. Okay, this is not written in a very good way. Let's go here. Uh, not sure. Okay. One, two. Inspect network console.
I think it's refusing the
Sorry.
connection by when try to donate with the login. It's refuse the connection when try to attempt the login API. When you
Not
hit
sure if
the
I have sent.
submit, yes, it's connection refuse, I think.
So here you can see your traffic is not getting served. So how you deploy the front end? If you see here, I have written a script. This API, this DNS, basically this DNS you provide to your front end. So what will be happening is that when you got everything here, so this DNS, the public DNS, this is nothing but the public DNS. This will be getting cached here. Now, whenever you hit any API, in these buttons, nothing but there is a API call goes behind the scene. So if you make this thing, this whole API private, it will not be getting resolved. The same scenario which you can see here, I am logging in, but it is not getting resolved here because it is not mapped to somewhere publicly in any registry. That's why it is not resolving. That's why you have to expose your APIs publicly. And this is the way how you do through Ingress by creating Ingress, and that's how you create and then expose it through a load balancer, which is publicly mapping. This one. This is how you create.
But what if I have some private API that should not expose publicly? In that case, then
In that scenario, the deployment scenario will be very much different. Let's say you have a very application where you want service to service communication. This is your service one, and you want service another. This is nothing but another service. So what will be the your scenario? You will be deploying a cluster IP service. You will be deploying a cluster IP service here. Let's say you want to communicate from here to here. then what you will be providing in this manifest file, you will be providing the path of this service, this cluster IP service.
So referencing another
So
into this one,
So
right?
your traffic will not go outside your cluster. It will go like this. It will forward here, and there are application running behind this service, and it will forward it to this container, and you will get the response in here. So that's how your traffic will flow internally. It will not be getting exposed. But now in our scenario, we want public facing APIs. Else you will not be able to hit those APIs. Yes, no. Am I clear?
Yes, little confusing for me, but I think after doing the exercise, then I can summarize my understanding to you. Yeah. If I get any query, I will get back to you.
No worries. This is the scenario where most of the people have doubt. You have to test it out. When I started, I also have a lot of doubt in this. But if you try yourself, that's how things work. This is the scenario how things will work. It is getting rejected because so there is
I think it's application error maybe.
no, it was running yesterday. I have tested, but there are scenarios that we can also test this like from the DB perspective. How you need to port it forward, like you need to port forward it. So you can basically the database is deployed as a pod. So I want to make it port forward. What Mongo service port forward service. Okay, let's come here. Here you can see Mongo service -n. Oh my bad. I haven't provided the namespace, that's why. If you come here, you can see in bank, let's connect. So this is the basically database which is deployed in Kubernetes cluster branch. This I have uploaded manually because the scenario I have told, this is the same thing I am providing. Customer, then this I have tested and I have registered manually. We can test this thing once again if you want. If this thing is working. A load failure controller. So basically what is happening, let's come to here. Let's check our deployment, front-end deployment. This is version 2. If I see this cd document, deployment, kubectl, apply, -f. See, this is the deployment which I want to do. kubectl get -n. What? Let's bring it down first. kubectl delete -f. This deployment. If I do this, okay. But if you carefully see here, this will got removed in some time. If I go here, front end, kubectl get ingress -n bank. Okay, I have to, my bad. kubectl, I also have to. So did you find the error? What I was missing? Anyone can track? kubectl get vo-m this. We need to wait for some time.
Actually, you're doing so fast, so I'm not unable to track what exactly is going on.
Okay. Wait.
And it's also
kubectl
no,
get
so there are
svc. So currently, can you see this service I have deleted, the front end service with service? Let's come here. So what I have done is that I have deleted this and this. Is this thing clear?
So basically pod also down, right? So there
Yes.
are no
Yes.
VMs right now.
Yes.
Okay.
If you see here, there is no front end running. kubectl get pods, then the namespace. If you come here, see here, you are not having any target group here, but you are having target group here. So to deploy the front end, what I have done is that if you go here, there is a script. So basically you need to add your DNS here. What is this DNS? This DNS your backend DNS. We can copy this and paste this thing here. So this request is coming from where? From here. This load, basically my browser is hitting the load balancer hitting this, then it is getting response from here to my browser. Is this thing clear? Yes, no?
Yes.
If you remove this and make it private, will I be able to hit this backend service? Yes, no?
Depend on the I think route, right? SG group, sorry.
Currently, it is registered here in the load balancer. If I remove from load balancer and I made this cluster IP, is this possible, this flow to hit from browser? What I am doing here?
It's running on 80 port, right?
Yes.
I think yes.
No. If I make this thing currently, if I did not have mapped this to my load balancer, my browser will not be able to reach this backend. To make this backend expose, I have basically made it and map it to my load balancer. Load balancer is getting mapped to my router, Route 53. So this Route 53 here you can see. This is mapped to the load balancer. I am forwarding the request to the same load balancer. And there is a judgment going on at the load balancer level. When I hit API, it lands to the same load balancer, and load balancer is basically making the decision where should I send. If I get this, I should send to this backend. If I get this, then I should send to the front end. Is this thing clear? Yes, no?
Yes.
Okay. Now, basically what I have done, this, since if I refresh this, now this backend service did not exist. This I am getting a plain text. Okay. Okay, let's deploy the front end again. kubectl okay, a front end I have deployed, then the service. Now what I have done, the same command in iterative way I have doing. I have deployed this service and this pod. This is what I have done using the same command. Apply, then applying the manifest file. The file which I have discussed. This is the same file, and this is the same file which I have deployed again. If you see in the load balancer, where is the load balancer? This is the load balancer. Let's go to there. I have shown you that this is not forwarding when I deleted. If you go here, refresh this, see here, this you got dynamically. How? This got created by, this is what my Ingress controller created for me by reading this manifest file. Is this thing clear?
Yes.
So if you hit this, look here. Let's bring this here. Login. Let's sign up. Mobile, Aadhaar, current, opening, branch, this, mail, password, then this, then entering sign up. See, if you see here, inspect, go to console. If you see, there is API call going on. What is this? Wait, let me show you in this way. Let me clear console.
I think that was a referral, right? From there, we are getting this request. That is what I understand it.
Yes. I don't know. I
So
need to
maybe
debug
it's
it. So,
linked to the load balancer, right?
yes. Yes. Here you can see this. This all of this thing request you are getting from the pod, front end pod.
Okay.
Let's this branch. This is the local. I believe it is. There is something like issue with the pod. It is sending the request with this payload sometime. This header but sometime with this header, I need to debug this. So basically, the main important thing is that how you deploy, you have to change this thing. This will basically then uh, you need to basically run this thing. So when you do this, I think there are scripts I have created. So using this script, what you will be generating is that your static file in the dist folder. So basically you need to build this, but before that you need to change this. Why? Because while creating Docker container, uh, your front end, your backend API is getting injected to your front end HTML. So this is the whole flow. So if you carefully see here, I am doing some manipulation, then I am basically executing this script here. Why I am executing? I have built the Docker image. Here Docker image I have built. I have copied all the front end content, then building the this Angular application. Then basically dynamically I have mapped it with the Nginx and then executing this. Executing this will basically override the configuration file here. This configuration file you don't have to do in the coding part, but the base path you have to provide when you hit the login page, how my traffic will come to my backend. So this is the path I am giving to my front end. Let's say from the first flow, I hit front end, then my browser render the bank. This UI, this UI is getting rendered. The next step, what? This uh, front end will having a DNS of this mapped to its pages. When I hit login, so my request goes to my API of this using /signup API call. Then here it comes with some payload. Then it lands to my backend application. Then from backend, MongoDB registration is going on. So this is the whole flow. This is how everything is going on. Yes, no.
Okay, Deepak.
I
I will
believe
check the entire flow on a weekend, like
yes,
to
yes.
do a
Because
practice.
if you if
Yeah.
you will not do it, you will still having some confusion because this is the thing everyone have, like everyone is facing confusion. When I was doing this for the first time, I have tried a lot, multiple time, then multiple scenarios I have tested. That's why I got this level of clarity. Because yeah, I like if you are doing it for the first time, you will be getting a lot of confusion. Everyone face this thing, but I have basically told you everything from the perspective of Ingress load balancer mapping. This in depth, no, like very few people tell, but this is the whole flow which is happening. The rest depends on you how you explore this thing much more deeper, because this is nothing but this is not the only thing which you can do. There are a lot of things you can do, because from load balancer perspective you can do a lot of things, the mappings and also, but the basic flow is this only.
Okay, I do have one question about to you, Deepak and Ayush.
Yeah.
Let's assume that in the backend is able to like when we hit the URL, we are able to reach to the backend API. Okay, let's
Yes.
assume that if anyone create a script such a way it
Mhm.
continuously hit multiple times in a frequent second a lot of requests to a backend API. Okay,
Mhm.
so how or how it will be get into that scenario means what exactly happen if anyone hits the multiple almost let's say as in 2000 requests per
I got it.
second on a backend API. Okay, and now our backend API is publicly available for an example. Okay,
Mhm.
so how it will be handled?
So currently this application is written for public, like every API gets deployed publicly, but the scenario depends.
Right.
Like if you want internal communication, or this is the API which is getting from front end or from any Android application or from anywhere, like which is in your device. But behind those API, all of those API have secret encrypted in it or authentication implemented on the top of those API. So what
Right.
you are telling, you cannot hit those API on a loop to basically choke
Mm-hmm.
that API, because if you hit that API, basically it will reject you giving uh, like unauthenticated and all of those kind of error, like it will throw to you. Every API is like whatever thing you are doing. Like if I am serving YouTube, serving content, all of those things are getting served from some backend APIs. But there is a authentication implemented behind the scene.
I agree, but there should be some process required for that also, right? Like if any particular API receive. So API process that either in a failure or successful, right? So it also consume the resources like CPU, or RAM, and storage for that particular process.
Yeah.
And if we
Basically,
receive, yeah,
you can implement rate limiting in your application side, or you can basically deploy global firewall, which is provided by AWS on top of your load balancer. So this firewall will get deployed to above your load balancer. So if you are getting like there is a bot running and it is hitting your
mhm,
API a lot, this will detect and it will reject to that IP address who is basically hitting this
on
API
an
multiple
infra
times.
level itself, right?
Yeah, on an infra level, it will, your traffic will not come to this pod level, or it will get rejected at
Okay,
this level only.
got it.
So, so many people basically deploy CloudFront on the top of this. So CloudFront provide a lot of uh, this detection mechanism. Uh, so at that level, you can basically handle those things.
Okay, okay, I agree.
So
Not an
so
issue.
one more last thing which I wanted to convey. Every basic concept I have covered, but the important thing is that to deploy this Ingress controller. So to deploy this Ingress controller, a step-by-step guide I have provided here, which you can refer. This you can refer and follow, like how you can deploy. But the important thing is this only. This we'll try to cover tomorrow, because it's already like time we have crossed. But
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
believe this session, this Ingress topic is like quite complex to digest in one go. But this is how you do. But this application is deployed. I can bring this down like kubectl delete -01 ingress. So you will see what is happening. This load balancer will get destroyed. Which load balancer? Which got deployed using that controller. See?
So our normal application load balancer and these load balancer are the different thing, right?
No, this is the same load balancer. This application load balancer is the same load balancer which is getting deployed, but it is not you are deploying. It is getting deployed by this Ingress controller, which you have to deploy in your Kubernetes cluster. And this Ingress controller read your Ingress and then provision this load balancer and do all of this mapping. Yes, no.
Yes, understood, Deepak.
So if you see carefully the Kubernetes architecture, there is one thing which I have told. This cloud controller manager. This is nothing but this Ingress controller. So every cloud has some controller which will be doing some task for you. So this is your Ingress controller, which is provisioning load balancer on behalf of you, reading the manifest file of Ingress. So this is what happening behind the scene. Okay, I believe that's enough for today's else everyone will get lost, but that's
Yeah, that
what
is sufficient.
happened. This topic is quite complex. For the first time, whoever is doing. Yeah,
Yes, I
I
agree,
think
Deepak.
that's
So
all
we'll
for.
chat you tomorrow, like for
Yeah,
further.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just try
But
to
thanks a lot.
provision things. Yeah. Just try to like this document is enough if you do yourself. I have done well documented everything, the application and README. If you just need to go through the README doc and explore of the. The more you explore, the better you get understanding of this thing.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, guys. So this thing clear. We can drop now. We'll connect tomorrow.
Yes.